What's good, family? It's your boy Just Blaze, host of the best NBA pod in the game, Above the Rim. Keep it locked each week and join myself and a special guest as we tackle the latest rumblings in the league. If it's happening in the NBA, you know I got you covered. Make sure you subscribe on all platforms and leave that 5-star review. Let's get it.
Yo, don't ever say nothing about the Raptors no more, man. Ever! In Milwaukee, Game 5, they won by 6. Came back home to Game 6 in the 6th and won by 6. That's 3-6. Them talk about the mark of the beast. Well, okay. I guess we are the mark of the motherfucking beast. When I want to ramp with the Raptors, Leonard, Larry, Hassan, and the rest of the team. Hey, Drake! Them gone to Bomba-clad far now, man. Fire on them Raptors!
Talk about it!
You are now tuned in to Above the Rim.
Family, welcome to another edition of Above the Rim, episode 96, brought to you, as always, by your honorable host, Justin, a.k.a. Just Blaze. And joining me this week, I had to bring one of my Canadian brothers up here, chop it up with me, especially with the city of Toronto right now being on fire with their first finals appearance coming up. Host of the Mitchell Report Unleashed podcast, the homie Rory Mitchell. What's good, brother?
I'm here, and I'm about to put out the fire that's blazing in Canada. What's going on, Jess?
I'm chilling, man. How you, man? I feel like you about to get a little disrespectful to Canada out here. Is that what I hear, Mr. Rory?
I'm gonna get busy. That's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get busy, man. I'm gonna come from a perspective that I know a lot of people are not ready for, but it's all good. They'll be okay.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I like to hear. I'm not mad at that. And family, as always, you can find Above the Rim anywhere you listen to podcasts, whether that be iTunes, Stitcher, Google, Spotify, YouTube, lineups.com. To get in contact with your boy, you can always hit me up on Twitter at justblaze_513, JUSBLAZE_513. IG is the same thing, justblaze513. Facebook, search Above the Rim Podcast. Email the show as well, Above the Rim NBA Podcast at gmail.com. Call up to talk about it line, 908-718-1592 with the feedback. You got questions or concern you want to yell at Rory this episode, because you might have to. You might want to by the time he's done here. Call up to talk about it line. Leave a voicemail as well. And Rory, my brother, where can the family find you and the Mitchell Report Unleashed?
Hey, listen, Twitter is real easy, man. You know, official Rory is the Twitter handle, and the Mitchell Report Unleashed podcast on all platforms. The link is in the Twitter bio. I know a lot of people don't do that. They don't go to the Twitter bios. They're not in our Twitter bios.
They need to.
But they just need to be in the Twitter bios, hit the link, and listen to all the good things. You know what I mean?
I hear you. I hear you hear that. Make sure you go check out my dog's show as well. He's always showing love to Above the Rim and the family. Make sure you go check out his show. Very interesting show with a wide variety of topics on the Mitchell Report Unleashed. Wow,
too many to count, man. Too many to count.
Too many to count.
Too many.
Yeah, man. So let's get right into it. Let's get into some news around the NBA. I gotta give a shout out to Michigan. Rory. Shout out to Michigan for hiring Juwan Howard, Michigan Wolverines. Phenomenal coaching move, in my opinion, by hiring the Fab Five member that we all know, Juwan Howard, to coach the squad. We've been hearing Jalen Rose been out saying that since Juwan is now the head coach, we'll get a reunion of the Fab Five. We know Juwan, Jalen, C-Webb, and those boys. And so it was a dope move by Michigan. I like the move by Michigan to bring one of their alumni back, one of their most prominent Michigan figures back there, and try to make amends with the squad as well. And honestly, I would have liked to see Juwan coach in the NBA, because I did like his assistant coach days with the Heat, with LeBron and those boys back then. But I'm not mad at the Michigan hire. I think I like it. I'm not mad at that at all, Rory. What you think about the hire for Juwan?
The hire is brilliant. The whole thing about bringing back the Fab Five, like, do they want to have that timeout back in 1993 happen? Like, you know what I mean? Like, Juwan Howard is a good basketball mind. He's a 2-time, NBA champion and whatnot. I think what he'll be able to bring to the Michigan Wolverines is the hard-nosed play from back in the day he used to play, you know what I mean, and whatnot. National championship, when you think about Michigan, you know what I mean, 1989, 1992, 93, 2013, and 2018. You know what I mean? Last year they made the Sweet 16, so the window right now is championship. You're looking Final Four. You're looking national title. I feel they can get it, but it all starts again with your coaching. Build the solidified, unique coaches that you can bring to coach these younger talents. You know what I mean? To kind of set it up for the get go. You know what I mean? So I feel like with this move, to be honest, I could see. Within 3 to 4 years, I wouldn't be surprised if Michigan Wolverines don't win a national title.
I agree. I like that because I feel like it's a great hire for them. And I think the only thing that Juwan, I like the point you made, the only thing I feel like Juwan has to adjust to is probably the recruiting aspect of coaching because, honestly, I think he's going to do a good job because I feel like he can resonate with the top high school talent because we all know, Rory, the main part about coaching, especially in colleges, recruiting is one of the major aspects of coaching. So I feel like in that regards, he just has to, I guess, maybe adjust to that aspect of coaching. But other than that, I feel like he's going to do a phenomenal job. And I think he's going to get some of the top national recruits over there to Michigan. And I'm actually looking forward to seeing the success that Juwan Howard has over there with Michigan and bringing the program back to full prominence because it's still there right now. But I think all in all, it's a dope hire there, Rory.
And I think for himself, he can exercise those demons back from '93. Yes, you know what I mean. Chris Webber doing that his wonky little timeout and basically costing him the game or whatnot. I gotta bring it up, but now he can rewrite history. You know what I mean? So that's good for Juwan. I tip my hat off to him. Always. From the time, and we're around the same age, watching him play, he never really caused a lot of mischief. He was humble, well-spoken, and, a very characteristic individual that could, get the job done.
100%. I definitely agree there. Definitely agree. So we're gonna be monitoring Juwan over there in Michigan. And to the NBA, I gotta talk about my Rockets really quick, because I forgot to talk about them last episode. I shoulda did it. But there were more bombs to be dropped in the Rockets organization. They let go of five assistant coaches recently now in the past 2 weeks, I believe it is. And I told y'all, family, the heads were going to roll after a Rockets loss to Golden State in Game 6 in Houston. It was an ugly loss. I was pissed off, very disappointed that my boys didn't close the deal. But no excuses, like I said before. And they needed this shakeup. They needed this change. And there needs to be more changes coming. But the Rockets are making major staff changes. They fired Jeff Bzdelik, Rory Rogers, basically everyone who was on the defensive side of the ball, and most of Mike D'Antoni's top guns, top assistant coaches. But I need to know, Rory, I don't know why Mike D'Antoni is still employed by the Rockets right now, because that man needs to go. I'm sick and tired of Mike D'Antoni coaching my boys. He's a solid coach, don't get me wrong, solid.
At the college level.
Yeah, but he's not going to get you over the top with his lack of adjustments, bro. He's got to go, my man. Get D'Antoni out of here, bro.
Listen, they need to send him to the NCAA and get him to coach one of them teams, because I'm sick and tired of watching Mike D'Antoni. Like, I'll be honest with you. You were saying all over Twitter when it came to the Houston Rockets, you were saying, see you in June. And I was believing a little bit, because I'm like, I don't want to send ether. I don't want to send the heat to Justin, man. I can't do that. And look, lo and behold, what happened? D'Antoni and the green light system. And, you have, in some people's eyes, one of the best point guards in the last, over 10, 15 years. Chris Paul. keep the ball in his hand. James Harden, like,
Simple.
I get it. He's playing the percentages. He's doing whatever he wants to do. And Chris Paul's got to be the one that commands the ship. You know what I mean? It's like, are you going to let a stewardess control the plane when she doesn't have the certifications to fly the plane? You get what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Right? But you let James Harden want to green light everything. You let Eric Gordon want to green light everything. Everybody's got a green light on this team. D'Antoni, yes, has to go. It's time for him to ship himself out. You know what I mean? Go to the NCAA level, maybe win a national title. Who knows? But he's not cutting in the NBA. Couldn't do it in Phoenix. Couldn't do it in New York. What makes him think? What do these fans, these fickle fans, and I want to highlight fickle.
Yes.
Fickle fans. What do these fickle fans expect from the Rockets? It's not going to happen.
Listen, it was championship aspirations, and it should have been. I'm not putting all the blame on D'Antoni because everyone needed to step up a little bit better. But D'Antoni's lack of adjustments, stylistic adjustments throughout the game, his lack of trusting more guys, going into his short 6-7 man rotation as he always does, instead of playing more guys, seeing what else you can get from that bench, right? And my problem with D'Antoni, not to get too deep into it, but I need to touch on it a little bit, because what I feel like D'Antoni did, I feel like he stopped coaching James Harden this year, Rory. I feel like he stopped coaching him, and I think Chris Paul had a slight problem with it. It wasn't a big deal, but I think it rubbed him the wrong way a little bit, and that probably was a little bit of the tensions or whatever they were talking about, the reports that came out of how there were tensions after Game 6, and it boiled over, which is all right. That's not a big deal to me. But when is the last time you've seen James Harden off the ball? When CP is the distributor, when he's the playmaker for parts of the game, James Harden usually drops back, stands by the half-court line, not really being active in the offensive play. And to me, it's a little bit of pouting. It looks like a little bit to me, or a little bit of, all right, you have it. You control the offense. I'm out of the play until it's my turn to get the ball again. And that, to me, at times, that can be playing 4-on-5, and it makes it to get more difficult shots that way. So they should have had more of a motion offense, and that, of course, is a coaching adjustment that they need to have. And I think,
but that's an ego, though.
Of course,
that's an ego.
Yes.
That's James Harden's ego now talking. Because
definitely.
when you look at a guy, and this is the thing about, we have to tell some of these NBA fans that watch the game, because there's guys like me and you that watch the game and we understand, and then there's the fanboys that just watch the game and they just create their own synopsis in their brain because they see a guy put up 40 shots and they think, half of those are going to go in. Not all the time that's going to produce to wins in the NBA level. You know what I mean? So if James Harden would be able to just take a step back sometimes, drive more, kick it out. You know what I mean? Slow down to speed up.
A little bit of movement, Rory. Just a little bit. Just at least become, you know what my issue is? He doesn't at least try to become a decoy on the offensive end. You see how Steph Curry, when he's not scoring, he's still a decoy. He's still a threat because he's still in the play. He's still moving. He's still cutting. You still have to account for him. So because you have to account for him, someone else gets an easier, open, one-on-one shot instead of a tough isolation, difficult jumper where you have to work that hard. Chris Paul is 34 years old. He shouldn't have to work that hard for these buckets. You know what I'm saying? Just become the floor orchestrator. James Harden, if you move off the ball a little bit more, you can have more one-on-one coverage.
So let me ask you this question. Do you think it's because they want to speed up the NBA game so much that they don't want to have because eventually they're going to start having it where the defender can't impede the offensive player and run around the way they can run around necessarily. But the thing I find out is that we're seeing all these high scoring games, not a lot of defense being played. Do you think it's because of the system and the way that the NBA is now transitioning more and more, where it's more offensive generated game than, say, maybe 15 years ago, where it was a little bit more hard nosed? It was very rare that we see games go in over 110 points. Very rare.
Yep. True.
You know,
True.
Hard nosed basketball was played games were 80s, high 80s, mid 90s. That's a basketball game. Now I'm getting sick and tired of watching games like 120 to 115. Like, what's going on?
Playing a little bit more intensity on the defensive end. I need more of that. That's what I like to see. I love tight, close games like that where everyone's putting the energy and effort in. Sometimes they do play lazy. A lot of teams play lazy right now. And, I mean, but that's the way the NBA is moving. 3-point shot, more offensive-centric. There's definitely nothing we can do about it. I mean, there's more leeway for the offensive player, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
100%. So, yeah, like I said, Tillman, the Rockets owner. Let's get rid of D'Antoni, too, man. You heard it. Let's get rid of that, man. All NBA selections.
Oh, boy.
Rather interesting. These came out last week. So let's go over the first team, second team, third team, and let's get our thoughts on who we feel got snubbed. First team, Steph Curry, James Harden, Paul George, Giannis, Jokic. Second team, Dame Lillard, Kyrie, Kawhi, Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid. Third team, Russ, Kemba, LeBron, Blake, Rudy Gobert. Interesting first, second, and third team. Rory, I'm gonna have you start on this one before I give my thoughts on these all NBA team selections because they're rather interesting. But so first off, do you feel like anybody has snubbed, or what would you have changed in these all NBA teams right now?
Rudy Gobert.
Say that again.
Rudy Gobert, and the only reason why is because the team finished with 50 wins, 32 losses. That's the only reason why. If you look at his stat line for this year was nothing that special.
So 15 and 12, I think he averaged 15 and 12.
15 and 12.
2 blocks. They were fifth place in the West.
Now, I'm not going to sound like a homer here. You already know I'm probably going to go to the home team. No, not the Raptors, Minnesota Timberwolves. Okay. They finished 36 and 46. Okay. If I'm looking at all NBA right now, I'm looking at what guys are doing night in and night out. Okay, not every team can make the playoffs. I get it. But Karl Anthony Towns was what, 24 and 12?
A very solid 24 and 12.
So when I see that from an eye test, would that not at least make him be able to make an all NBA team?
I agree with you. That would have been my big over Rudy Gobert. I would have picked Karl Anthony Towns as well. 24 and 12, three assists. What do you have? 1.5 blocks a night. Those are big time numbers.
And he had to bust his butt. Rudy Gobert, like, okay, you're on a team that was an inflated 50 wins. I'm sorry. Like, I don't think Rudy Gobert, like, if I'm starting a team right now between Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns, yes, there's defense, but I'm going to probably go with the all around. Karl Anthony can do it all. You know what I mean? Even though he can be soft like silly putty, but that's another topic for another day. Yeah. You know, but yeah.
I mean, but I'm taking Karl Anthony Towns. I'm taking Cat over Rudy Gobert any day of the week and 2 times on Sunday. Any day, anytime. And you know what's crazy? When I had my list, when I first put out my list when the season ended, I actually had Capella as my third team center over Gobert, over Karl Anthony Towns. Because I feel like Capella had a career year, 16 and 12. A career season, but damn, the playoffs, it really tainted my view for Clint Capella. But how he acted and how he played against the Golden State Warriors. Because he did good against Rudy Gobert, but he froze up when it came up to those Warriors. So because of that, now me making the list, I got to put Karl Anthony Towns. Got to. And one thing to me, I don't agree with this notion, because you know a lot of the backlash was about Klay Thompson now making the second or third team. He averaged 21 this year, 21 and 3 or something like that, I believe. But I'm not mad at him not making the team. I'm sorry, but to me, in my opinion, Klay Thompson wouldn't have made my first, second, or third team All NBA for me personally. I think Russ had a better year. I still think Kemba had a better year. And I don't have a problem with Klay not making it, me personally.
And well, Klay is good at what he's out there to do.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I think this is where the storylines start. And, you know, we're going to go through all the storylines that are going into what's about to happen on Thursday.
Yes.
But it's all storyline driven. You know what I mean? And it's kind of leading towards, What's Clay going to do in free agency? Is the Hampton Five going to split up? And this is all just generating just to build an argument.
Yes,
it's like they need a storyline, like our homie Jar would say. You know what I mean? And I'm sorry to butcher this a little bit. He's like, it's WWE. It's very storyline driven. Yes. You have your heels and you have your faces, and then they have where they need to put certain people in certain scenarios. You know what I mean? To make it sound good, to make it look good. You know?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that 100%. So they're like, they're trying to push that narrative hard that Clay should have made it. But to me, Kemba had a better year than him. To me, honestly, and I don't think this is that crazy, but Bradley Beal might have had a better year than Klay Thompson.
Gotta give him a nod.
You gotta
give him a nod. Gotta give him a nod.
Even though his team didn't have the team success, but we're not comparing the Washington Wizards to the Golden State Warriors. We know for a fact their records are not going to be the same. But Beal played well this year with John Wall being hurt a lot of the year. He gave you 25, 5 and 5. When Wall was out, Beal was balling. So
absolutely,
I would put Beal having a better year over Klay Thompson this year, to be honest. So I'm not with that. Klay Thompson needed to make the All-NBA team. I don't feel like he deserved it, me personally. I feel like other guards had a better year than him.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's the thing where I think I'll agree with you. You know what I mean? Like, I like Bradley Beal, and I know he's going to be a big time asset on any team coming next year. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
The Washington Wizards experience, I think, is now done. You know what I mean? John Wall's not going to be the same player after tearing that Achilles. You know what I mean? So it's sad. It's unfortunate. You know what I mean? He's one of the top guards in the league. You know, but with Bradley Beal, it's going to be an interesting scenario to see what destination where he can go. And I know, man, I know 10 teams right now could benefit from his services.
He could fit in on a lot of teams, bro.
Absolutely.
A lot of teams.
The right team snabs him. Yeah. It might be a championship.
Word. And your boy, LeBron, your boy, LaFale.
LeBron is not my boy. You better watch what you're doing right now. You better watch what you're doing. LeBron is not my boy.
Yo, boy. Not even making the first team this year. Thank God that he didn't make the first team, because that would have been ridiculous if he did make the first team. I think All-NBA third team is fitting for how LeBron played this year. I know he had 11 straight years or whatever that he was voted first team. I'm good with him getting an All-NBA third team this year. I think they got that correct.
Listen, if this was based off of promotion and selling yourself and selling your services and selling an HBO service, then guess what? He would have been top of the line. He'd been top of the list. You know what I mean? I don't know if this is celebrity, Hollywood, male LeBron James, or is this the political view LeBron James? It's like, bro, one thing I don't know about LeBron, this is going to be one hot take. It could be dark days next year.
Oh,
when it comes to LeBron, because it all depends on how he treated this offseason. I'm not talking about trying to go get players and go get talent. But if he's motivated to come back and play basketball at the highest level that we know that he can be able to do, it's going to be something special. Yeah. And I really hope he thinks long and hard. You know what I mean? He doesn't seem he's too active on social media. Yeah, he'll throw up a tweet here and whatever, an Instagram post there, but he needs to come back highly motivated next year. You know what I mean? I know he's older, but listen, we went through a whole playoffs where your name, we don't miss you. We don't need to hear you.
Oh, not at all. I didn't miss LeBron not one bit in this playoff.
You know, it feels a little weird. Yeah. But I'm going to get into everything. No worry, no.
We definitely got to get into it too. But before we move on real quick, all defensive teams, we have Rudy Gobert, Paul George, Giannis, Marcus Smart, Eric Bledsoe, which is ridiculous. I'm sitting here like,
come on, man.
How the hell is Eric Bledsoe making an all-defensive first team, which is ridiculous? No Patrick Beverly on the first or second team. No, I would even put Lonzo up there for some consideration with maybe the second team. No PJ Tucker, no consideration. No Miles Turner, the block leader, no consideration for him. Jimmy Butler, I feel like could have got a little bit of consideration for second team probably. But Eric Bledsoe, I'm sorry. He is not all defensive first team. Marcus Smart, maybe. But you got to have Patrick Beverly in there, Rory. Without it.
Yeah, of course.
You have to. That was ridiculous to me.
Patrick Beverly is good for basketball. You know what I mean? Look what he did with Golden State, those first few games. You know what I mean?
Good theater.
Yeah. You need guys like that on your team. You need guys like that in the locker room. Because you know what it does? It puts guts and it puts balls on the rest of the other guys in the locker room. You know what I mean? You know, you need to have that guts. You need to have that guy that's that spark plug. You know what I mean? That's going to be able to say, hey, like, listen, go out there, play your game, no matter what happens. Show up, get the job done.
Definitely, 100%. So that was a damn travesty that you don't have Patrick Beverly on an all-defensive team. That's crazy, man.
What's good, Above the Rim family? Think you know fantasy basketball? You can win money on FanDuel tonight and all through the NBA playoffs. There's only a couple weeks left in the season, family, so don't miss out on your last chance to have some fun and win some money. Draft your fantasy basketball team for tonight's playoff action. It's quick, it's easy, and you can win huge cash prizes. Sign up for FanDuel using promo code LINEUPS and get a $5 bonus with your first deposit. Just visit FanDuel.com or download the FanDuel app, then draft your NBA playoffs team and play for cash. Make sure you use promo code LINEUPS when signing up. Trust me, family. It's worth your while.
And it's about that time, man. We have to get into what just happened. Weekend's events. Why I brought my man Rory on here for this episode. Because there was a lot of events that went down. The Toronto Raptors. Can you believe it?
Nope.
Can you believe it? The Toronto Raptors right now going to the NBA Finals, defeating the first place, number one, Milwaukee Bucks. Game 6 in 6 games. The Bucks blew two 15-point leads in Game 6. Giannis was solid, but he was not MVP-like in this series. I'll tell you that right now. His numbers still look sexy on the surface. 22, 13, and 5, but he shot 58% from the line. Budenholzer made some coaching mistakes. He couldn't adjust. Nick Nurse was out coaching him. The Bucks lost 4 straight games in this series after winning the first 2. Toronto Raptors going to their first ever NBA Finals. I'm not gonna lie, I did not have the Raptors in the finals this year, so I'm actually crazy shocked right now that the Raptors going to the finals, and I'm not mad at it. But I guess Rory might be a little mad at it. I don't know what's going on.
Here's the
Are
thing.
you happy for the city? Are you happy?
Here's the thing, okay? And I know I'm going to have a lot of my Canadian brothers be listening to this, so I got to watch what I say, but I'm not going to watch what I say because I have to sometimes tell them the truth. And the truth of the matter is this. Yes, it's good that your team made it to the NBA Finals. It's about time. It's about time. You guys didn't have LeBron. LeBronto, if they remember, were both LeBronto last year. You know what I mean?
It damn sure was LeBronto last year.
It was LeBronto last year. So disrespectful. Right? They basically had, I won't say a cakewalk, but they played to their strengths and they maximized on their weaknesses. And one thing I'll say is this. I'm surprised that they made it. I'm going to be real. I'm surprised they made it.
You got to give them some credit.
I'm going to give them credit, yes.
Okay.
But here's where the mishap happened. Milwaukee forgot to play basketball. They played, but they didn't know how to adjust after Game 3. And I was on Twitter and I was saying this. Game 3, Game 4, Game 5, Game 6. They didn't adjust.
They struggled to make adjustments. And Giannis struggled to close games. Did you see how he was closing the game? He was shut down.
Those air balls from no apparent reason. I'm like, yo, bro, that's like a fadeaway turnaround. Like, that's a baby. Like, you just have to flick the ball up. Air ball? Listen. I was just like, my hands were in my forehead. And I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. But here's the thing about Toronto, right? They got arguably one of the best two-way players, Kawhi.
Yes.
And I'm not upset about Kawhi. I'm a Kawhi supporter. What I like about Kawhi is that Kawhi is humble. He's not erratic player. He doesn't have to go out there and talk garbage to the announcers and to other people. He plays his game. He does what he's meant to do. He's humble about it. I love that about him.
So do I.
But the thing is, it's the fans. There's about
so you
three
got a problem
different
with Raptor fans.
There's 3 different fans that you have. I know core fans. I know bandwagon fans. And then I know country fans. And when I say country, the whole country is now rallying against the Toronto Raptors. They're making reservations for 9 o'clock on Thursday nights. And they're making reservations for Sunday. They're making all these flamboyant, idealistic, exuberant plans where it's just like, oh, this team is going to go to the finals now. And we're happy. And
but wait, why are you mad at them? Why are you mad?
No. Because here's the thing is this. I've watched sports, my man. Listen, okay. I've watched sports in the history of my life, right? I've seen hockey. I've seen football. Maybe it's because it's the country. I don't know. I've never seen people rally like this. Like it feels like the only time I've seen something close to this is like soccer, to be honest.
You mean like the whole city rallying together to support the squad?
Yes, something is very similar to soccer.
But that's a good thing, though. To me, that's a good thing. Yeah, it's a good thing if a team supports your city like that.
But what bugs me about it is that these fans are coming out of nowhere. You know what I mean?
Oh, so you mean people are coming out the woodworks right now being Raptors?
They don't even know a lick of basketball, my friend. I was sitting at the table and I was breaking down the last 5 minutes of that Game 6 in Scotiabank Arena. And it's like, people are just looking at me like, what are you talking about? Yo, you can't play basketball like that in half court. You can't sit here and have a guy just drive and kick out. Nobody setting screens. Giannis, yes. Yeah. Giannis, nobody was setting screens. You know what I mean? There was nobody trying to like post up. There was nothing going on. It's this iso ball.
It was a terrible offense especially in the half court that the Bucks were running. It was terrible. I said before in the previous episode when they were playing the Celtics, Giannis, I mean the Bucks' whole offense right now was just driving kicks. It's just driving kicks over and over and over. I said Philly, their offense is over and over is dribble handoffs. The Milwaukee Bucks, all they do is drive and kick. If it's not a Giannis transition bucket, and if he isn't allowed to get an easy bucket or a Euro step, take 2 dominant steps and get to the basket in transition after a miss, then he struggles in the half court. So I need Giannis to get into the gym this summer. He's have to at least acquire a baby hook, maybe a fadeaway jumper. Maybe, it doesn't have to be a 3-point shot because I know it might be difficult. It doesn't have to be a pull-up jumper because that may be more difficult to get in one summer. But at least give me a baby hook in a post. Because even when he posts up right now, he's still looking to pass. He's not really looking to score and shoot. He's either looking to spin and dunk or pass. And that, to me, is predictable for Giannis.
Well, here's where I'll piggyback off your argument. If you can have guys that can consistently hit those shots, then it can make up for that. Which they do. But you need to, if that's the style that he wants to play, and then kind of make it where they have to focus on the outside shooter, then it gains the advantage back to him because then it's like you don't know what to stop. The defense is going to need to know how to adjust. You know what I mean? Because if you basically post up, turn around, and you pass it out, and then those shots are getting, say, those are going down 30-40% of the time, right? Then you have to change your defensive system.
Yes.
Then Giannis basically can be like, okay, well, I'm in the post. I can just turn around now, dunk, have that baby hook, like you said. I would just like to see him just have a little bit of a mid-range.
Oh, I would love that, but that might be too difficult to ask. I mean, I hope
not necessarily. I think he can build it. I think it's going to be something to transition. He's only 24. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
So he's got listen, I went full out on the train of the Giannis train. Now I'm on the train. I'm not jumping off anytime soon.
I like Giannis.
You know what I mean? I think he's got the characteristics to, some people are saying that he's just a star. I have a personal belief that I think you're just going to see a lot more stars in the NBA now. You're going to have, you may have like that one-off person, but I think you're going to see a lot of the NBA in the next 3 to 5 years is going to be full of just stars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? While there's going to be, while a lot of people are going to be on their way out, but it's just Budenholzer just needs to find another system. But again, like I said about LeBron, like Giannis, he's motivated come next year. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I will say this: pending no injuries, Milwaukee might not be a team you want to see next year. You know what I mean?
Well, they've got to retool because they have a lot of additions that they need to have happen. They have a lot of decisions to make. Brogdon, Middleton, Brook Lopez. They got a lot of decisions to make this summer. So,
but just with that, with that just means people look at Milwaukee, Midwest. Okay, it's the Eastern Conference. There's nothing really over there yet. Mm-hmm. We're hearing rumblings in New York. What's going to happen in Brooklyn? What's going to happen in Boston? Mm-hmm. But if you're a free agent, you might have to say Milwaukee looking quite tasty right now. It might be a spot I want to go to.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Definitely looking desirable, that spot for sure. Yeah,
rent's cheap. From what I've been researching, it's not that expensive over there. The only thing you got to deal with is their winter. You know what I mean? The cold air, but you'll figure it out. But listen, Giannis he's gonna come back on a tear next year. You know what I mean? So I'm waiting there for that.
I agree, most definitely. Well, we got to get back on the Toronto side because the city is buzzing. Like I said before, Kawhi has been playing his ass off in this playoff run. Throughout the playoffs, he's averaging 31-8 and 3 assists throughout the entire playoffs. Against the Bucks, he averaged 29-9. He's been playing phenomenal right now, and there have been a lot of extra storylines from this Raptors Bucks series that caused up a little drama, with your man Drake over here, Rory. He got a lot of attention in this series, and I thought I'm not gonna lie, I thought the shit was very funny. His antics on the sidelines with Nick Nurse and him being a quote unquote distraction, Coach Bud hating over there about Drake on the sidelines. So do you feel like, because I know Drake is your man and all that, do you think what do you think about the attention he was getting on the sidelines as a super fan? Quote unquote, I like to call him. Was it too much Drake, Rory? So this is what I'm going to talk to you about super fans, because there's another super fan that doesn't get a lot of airtime necessarily, and he's a East Indian dude by the name of Nav, and he's a Raptors super fan. You might see him on social media always posting with all these different basketball players because he gets a lot of respect from different basketball players and stuff like that anytime they come over to Toronto. The thing with Drake is this: yes, Drake is my guy. He's got to sit down in that seat. Oh, okay. He's got to sit in that seat, and he just needs to just chill. Because listen, I don't know if it's because Drake loves the camera and he knows the camera's on him, but like nobody says you can't jump up and be animated. We all do it in sports. We do it in the comfort of our own homes. Listen, heck, when my team comes to when the Red Sox come to Boston, when the Red Sox come to the Toronto Blue Jays field, I go crazy. You know what I mean? But I keep myself in my seat. I can say what I need to say, but I don't need to be so animated. I don't got to go through the theatrics. I don't have to massage the coach. I don't need to go on Instagram and put up. What was the homegirl's name? Mallory's. The Bucks' daughter. Yeah, I forgot her name, but man. But she was asking for it though with the Pusha T.
Yeah, but you know what though? You don't see her posting stuff about Drake, but see Drake's that's ammunition.
Well, he loves the attention, though.
And he loves the attention. And Drake will use the ammunition. And guess what he did? He'll clap back. But here's the thing. Here's the caveat that I would like to say about Drake. Drake, come the finals, better just sit in his chair.
Do you think he can do that?
He's going to have to. You want to know why? Because there's about 5 guys I know on Golden State will keep in his chair. And I don't want to do any spoilers of the show, but Steph Curry being one, because Steph Curry can shoot from that range where he sits. So he just needs to sit down and just be quiet.
I'm counting on him and Draymond getting into at least one slight, not an altercation, but a slight screaming match or something like that during a tight game. Because I definitely can see that happening. Because after Draymond, if he hits a big shot, because you know Draymond, if he hits a three, you know he's screaming on somebody if he hits a three, because that's big for him in particular to hit that three, and it most likely might be over there. It would be nice if it would be over there by Drake's sideline, but I don't think Drake could calm down. I think he's gonna be hyper. He's got more ammunition right now, Rory. He's got more ammunition right now for him to act crazy on the sidelines. And I honestly didn't really have a problem with it. I was actually laughing about it. To me, it was funny. I think it added another element to the game, but it got a little too much attention.
You want to know where it's distracting? Mm-hmm. If you watch the basket, so when you're watching the Raptors games, if you actually pay attention, like if you're watching for Drake, you'll see him all the time.
Oh, yeah.
You'll see him all the time.
Looking for him? Yeah. 100%.
If you're looking for him, you'll see him right there. Yeah. And it's like, he can, like, jumping around and stuff like that and carrying on. Like, just sit down, be humble.
On him too. He knows it, too. Like, he's usually crazy, but I feel like in this series, this was the most animated I've seen him on the sideline. So he definitely needed to calm down a little bit.
Well, just here's the thing. It's not only Steph. It's not only Draymond. If DeMarcus Cousins comes back, dude, he's got to think about KD also too. Like, I'm telling you, those guys they run by there all the time. Like,
you know why he's doing it though? Maybe because he knows the Raptors are not trash talking nobody. Because nobody on that team is trash talking. Kawhi's not doing it. Lowry doesn't have no right to be trash talking anybody. Siakam is definitely not doing it. Marc Gasol is not about that life, that trash talking life. So who else on that squad is trash talking? So I feel like it's got to be Drake.
He's the ambassador, right? He's the ambassador. So I guess he can do whatever he wants to do.
I guess so.
I'm gonna tell you this right now. If they go to win that championship, I don't even think I'm ready for what Drake's gonna do. I think what Drake needs to do is just go in the studio if they win the championship, and just straight up give us an album. That's it. Just give us an album. Give us that classic album that we know we're all waiting for. You know what I mean?
I know, man. That shit's gonna be interesting, man. And well, we might as well jump right into the finals preview right now, because this is a very interesting NBA finals matchup. I feel like people are sleeping on it a tad bit on how it can be more competitive than one may think on the surface, because of course everyone is going to pick Golden State Warriors because it's the easy ass pick. It's a safe pick to pick the Golden State Warriors. But I actually feel like, Rory, that the Raptors do have a chance to definitely extend the series. And if things tip in their favor, call here, call there, a little bit of run there, somebody getting cold, it's a possibility that they could maybe push this series to the brink, because they do have home court advantage, number one, which I actually forgot about. I actually had to look at it because I forgot that they had a better record than the Golden State Warriors. So that, to me, I feel like is a very interesting caveat to the series, that they do have home court advantage. But when you think about it, though, it's the Raptors. It's the baby dinosaurs when it comes to like game ones to open up a series at home, Rory. I don't understand why the Raptors continue to drop game ones at home with the type of crowd that they have, the raucous crowd that they do have. It mind boggles me, dog. I just don't understand it.
So here's the thing. For this series, game one, and I'm conflicted because I don't, like, all through work today, people have been asking me, what do you think? What's your take? I said, I don't know. One thing I will say is this: it won't be a sweep.
Oh,
so everybody needs to get that over their head. They're talking sweep.
Nah, not a sweep.
The only way it's a sweep is if Golden State is taking all this time off and they decide to go berserk. But I just don't see that happening. They could also be cold
as well in the same light.
And that's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. So I loom that if I was on the betting lines, I'm taking Toronto game one. I think Toronto, I'm going to be honest, I'll call it a spade, right? I got to be a contrarian here. I think Toronto wins game 1.
I agree. I think Toronto takes game 1. I would like to see Toronto take game 1. If they're going to win this series, they have to win game 1 for their mental sake.
For their mental sake.
Yeah.
But game 2, 3, and 4, that can go a whole nother way.
It can.
I think what Toronto needs to do is just realize they're there. Now, bright lights tend to make people shrink. And it's like, who's going to quit first? Pascal Siakam has not been there. Fred VanVleet's not been there. Kyle Lowry has not been there, right? Half of that team has not been there. The only 2 guys that have been there is a Danny Green and a Kawhi Leonard. They know what it is to get the job done. And I think that with how you see Kawhi and his attitude and how humble he is, I think he's brought that humble presence in that locker room. So if everybody can stick to that and just be able, hey, let's fight. Let's fight through it, fight through the flurry, because Golden State's going to come up with those runs. Golden State's going to come up with
avalanche.
It's going to happen at any given time. But here's the thing that I think a lot of people don't realize. When Milwaukee was up in certain parts of that series, in the Eastern Conference Final, like a 12, 15 points, they came back. When Golden State goes up by 12, 15 points, you may not even see that. Because that's another 10 points. By next thing you know, you're down by 20. You could be down by 30.
Yeah,
it's possible. I expect Golden State to have one of those games. I think Golden State has the capability to blow this team out by 20 or 30 points.
Oh, of course, 100%. I mean, they're one of the best offensive juggernauts in the league. They're the best.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're the best team in the league when it comes to offense. So I'm not surprised at that at all. But I'm not sleeping on Toronto's defense, man. I'm not gonna lie, because with Kevin Durant being out, especially for game 1, probably game 2, I definitely believe he's going to make an appearance in this series. I don't believe he's going to go the entire series without playing. So I feel like he might come back either game 3 or game 4, or either game 3 or game 5. I feel like he's going to come back. And I think it's going to be, that to me is going to be the tipping point, the climax of the series of what happens. But to me, Toronto has to win the first 2 games at home. They have to. It's a must win. And they have to play smart defense, especially on those switches, especially on those pin downs for Steph Curry. Because right now, without KD, they're primarily a jump shooting team. And I feel like Toronto does have the proper personnel to challenge them on a lot of those jump shots. So
I don't think so.
You don't
because
think so?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If Toronto's gonna go with Kawhi on Steph, then
I don't think they need to, though. I don't think they
that's what I'm saying. I don't think they need to. But I think if you're Nick Nurse, you might play with that a little bit in the series. You might play. You have to experiment with it. Yes.
Yeah. Crucial moments, I would say. I would say 4 quarters, I'm putting Kawhi on Steph.
Yeah. The thing is now, is Steph Curry has the ability to cook all those guards up in Toronto. I don't care if you're Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry, and he's going to cook them. He's going to cook them.
Definitely.
He'll cook them. Jeremy Lin, if he even sees the light of day.
He shouldn't.
And he shouldn't. Now, here's the interesting piece that I'm going to throw to people here. There's one dude that I give a lot of respect to on Toronto. He didn't play last series. OG Anunoby.
Yeah, he hasn't been getting any run. I've noticed.
No run because he was injured. He had some injury that he had to deal with and whatnot. If he can somehow sprinkle himself in this series, then it shifts. It will shift. It doesn't matter who's on the court because he's another defensive sounded mind that can be able to challenge when Steph has that ball. Yeah. Because we know Steph is going to try to chuck up some of them shots around Drake's section. I'm telling you, it's happening. That's what I'm there for. I have the PBR ready.
Oh, I definitely think something like that is happening. I can't wait.
You know what I mean? But this is the thing is like their defensive sound and what else I need to see too is what Marc Gasol can do. Can Marc Gasol turn into?
Yes. Can
Marc Gasol turn into even half of the man he was in Memphis?
Yeah.
He's capable of putting up points and he can do damage in that post.
Yes.
Because really, Kevin Looney, Andrew Bogut. Who knows if DeMarcus Cousins comes back?
Gasol should be dominating that matchup, Rory. He should be. He's got to give you more than 8 points and 6 rebounds that he's averaging right now in the postseason. He's got to give you more than that. To me, he's got to give you 10 and 10. Is that too much to ask? 12 and 10? 12 and 9? I don't feel like that's too much. He's got to win the Looney.
Yes, and I think he can do that. And if we're also looking at like Pascal Siakam, I think he might come up small because he might look like a liability sometimes because we're not even talking about what else Golden State. Yeah, I think more on the defensive side because once Golden State goes in the Hampton 5 rotation, let's just say this, they go into the Hampton 5 rotation. It then creates a whole bunch of mishaps because then you can't have Gasol on the court.
He's got to. I feel like Ibaka can contain Draymond. He can't stop him because Draymond is definitely faster than him still. But Siakam, I wouldn't mind him guarding Draymond when the Hamptons 5 lineup is on there.
He can try, but the thing is that it's going to create I'm speaking this from if and when Durant comes back because Durant then is now basically Kawhi has to take that matchup if Durant's on the floor.
Yes, that's why it's important. Mm-hmm.
And this is a bold statement I'm making. I'm not saying that Durant can't play in this series and not be effective, but he might serve as a decoy in this NBA Finals to where he stays on the court and Kawhi has to track him. Yes. And Steph is just going to basically eat in the perimeter. Clay is going to be around the perimeter. We're still forgetting about what Iguodala and Chris and Sean Livingston can do. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So this is going to look like this is going to look like a very strategic boxing match because what's going to happen is you can't come out with your flurry. You got to throw a jab here. You got to throw an uppercut here. Play a little bit of defense. Play a little bit of rope-a-dope. The first team that I think can play rope-a-dope and be able to bait the opponent in the correct manner and go for the 1-2 and then hit that uppercut wins that series.
Definitely. So listen, let's put it all out on the table right now. I'm gonna start off. I got the Raptors in this series. I got the Raptors in 7, Rory.
Jesus Christ.
I'm going.
Wow.
I'm rooting for the Raptors. I mean, hey.
I'll say this to you.
I won't be surprised if I'm wrong, but I'm going with the Raps.
Yeah. I'll say this to you and I'll give you my pick. Mm-hmm. If it goes 7, this is not my pick, but I'm going to back up your argument. If it goes 7, Toronto wins in Toronto. They have to. They're going to win in Toronto. I'm gonna split off a game. I say Golden State in 6. Okay. Golden State wins in Oracle Arena. I feel like this is gonna be the first couple games should be competitive, but I know Golden State's gonna blow this team out. They're very capable, 20-30, and it's what Toronto does to bounce back. If they can't bounce back from a 20 to 30 point, it's because I'm going to be honest. I don't know if they can win in Golden State yet.
I know that's the big challenge. They got to try to get at least one. I mean, they don't have to get one because they have home court, but it will be very good for their mental psyche also if they get one in Golden State because Golden State can win anywhere.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
100%. So this final's going to be sticky, man. This final's going to be sticky. It is. I'm very interested in it. And before we get to the crossover segment, I did have a voicemail from my man BTG. So let's hear that first before we get into the crossover segment.
Above the Rim family, it's your boy BTG. I heard my boy Murph on there. Big Murph, Why Not Sports? Hey, look, let me ask you a question. Should we extend or should we prolong the MVP votes until we get to the Eastern and Western Conference Finals? Or should we just have a separate MVP playoff award? Because I had Kawhi as this year's playoff MVP back when everybody was still playing. KD was still playing. Embiid, this is when they was playing against Philly. Dame, everybody was having a great second round. And I think I had Kawhi, Harden, Giannis, and then KD or whatever. And I had my reason. I had it on the show a couple of shows ago that I had on Open Run. But I think we just need to hold off a bit. You know what I'm saying? Because I think your playoff performances should be added to what you did during the season. I don't think you should cut it off. Because what's not fair is you can go off in the season and have a bad playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Or you can have a mediocre season and go off in the playoffs. So I feel like we should just hold off just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Shout out to BTG for the voicemail. So since they're announced so late in the season now, like we didn't get the MVP still, it's still not announced, which is so ridiculous to me. Do you feel like, what's your thoughts on if the season awards should factor in playoff success? Because he was making the point about how Kawhi now didn't have the greatest regular season. He had a great regular season, but because of the load management and things like that, he his postseason now, a lot of people have him as the number one player in the postseason. So do you feel like postseason success should factor into the awards for the entire year?
Absolutely. And there's only reason why I would say this. Kawhi Leonard's only played 69 games in 2 years. So I have to judge, right? I have to basically judge what he's done up to back half of the season to win the playoffs. And what I see now is a guy remember, he sat out all last year. He sat out for what?
I think he played 9 games last year.
He played 9 games. That's why I said, 69. So he's only played 69 games in basically 2 years. So he sat out. He had that injury, all right? He healed his body. I feel like, I'm going to use a mixed martial arts term here, and then I'm going to get to kind of the answer here. George St. Pierre, famous mixed martial arts UFC fighter, did the exact same thing. He was injured. He sat out for a while. He looked at the talent. He looked at the skills. He came back. He was a tear. And whoever fought him, you couldn't beat him. You know what I mean? He would sit there, demolish you in 5 rounds. Kawhi's in that same sort of bracket right now. And I look at it where it's like Kawhi and how these MVPs should be handed out. If I'm looking up to the start of the season to the playoffs, I think that's where the cutoff should be. Then finals MVP is something else different. Yes, MVP should be for the whole regular season and the playoffs. Finals is different.
Okay, so you're throwing playoff success in there also.
And I'm throwing playoff success in there. So when I look at it, and we're talking about Joel Embiid, his name should not even really be in the mix. It really does come down to the 3 people, Kawhi, Giannis, and James Harden. Those are the 3. And if I'm looking at this right now, I have to say Kawhi, just based off of what he's done in the back half of the season into the playoffs.
I hear you. See, I agree with you halfly with that. I definitely agree that playoff success, I'm not underestimating the importance of playoff success. I definitely agree with it. But to me, how I think it, I don't think that it should factor into that particular award, because then to me, the award will become all about winning and who gets the furthest into the playoffs. And I think that would skew the voting. Like, say, for instance, Kawhi, for the argument's sake, he gets knocked out in the second round or whatever, but it was a memorable second round and his stats are through the roof. But then does that negate that he sat out so many games throughout the regular season? Because he said he only played 60 games this year. There was a lot of load management games. So to me, I feel like that has to factor into the award. But what I would say is I would keep the regular season award for the regular season MVP, and then I would have a playoff MVP award, me personally, like a separate award for who had the best postseason for the guys who were qualified for that year, and then still have your finals MVP. And I think that playoff MVP award would hold a lot of weight as well, because it's who shines in the biggest moments.
Yeah, and you know what? I'll agree with you there. I like how you broke that down. It does make sense to have so you're saying have three awards in basically.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I like that. I do like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at it at all. A lot of people get snubbed anyway, so if there's another award being created, then I don't see there's a problem with that, because playoff MVP is an important award. It would hold a lot of weight. Good. But,
that's so true.
Yeah,
so true.
For real. So yeah, man. So let's get to the crossover segment.
Not a game.
Yeah.
We talking about practice.
Crossover segment, family. I'll be throwing out player comparisons from different eras My man Rory asks his GM, tells me who he would take out of the two in their prime if he was building a team. First up, are you taking a prime Tony Parker, or Kemba Walker? Let me give you the career stats. Tony Parker, 15 points per game, 2 rebounds, 5 assists, no blocks, no steal, 49% from the floor, 4-time champ, finals MVP, 6-time All-Star. Kemba, 19 points per game, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 41% from the floor, and a 3-time All-Star for Kemba. So, Rory, you got both of these boys on the table. Prime Tony, Kemba Walker, building the squad. Who you taking, dog?
This is tough because they both won championships. One at the college level, the other one at the NBA level.
Building that squad. Who you got?
I'm going to go Tony Parker.
Tell me
I'm
why.
going to go Tony Parker.
Okay.
Tony Parker was crafty. He was a guy that had that engine that I liked when he played in San Antonio. He could not only distribute the ball, but he was a guy that could drive and just lay it up on you. It doesn't matter who was in front of him. Sure. You know what I mean? And it was something special about him. I liked his game, and I think a lot of people don't give him a lot of credit, actually, when it comes to, you know, what he did in San Antonio. He's one of the main ingredients to those championships. Definitely. You know what I mean? Alongside a Manu Ginobili and a Tim Duncan. Kemba still needs to find his own. You know what I mean? That's the reason why I'd eliminate him from the conversation. I want to see what Kemba would do in a different uniform, because I think that he's got the ability to now become a household name. Not an MVP regular season, but to be a household name where you can put him in the conversation as top tier, you know, point guard. You know what I mean? Like Tony Parker, in my eyes, if we're judging basketball in the last 15 to 20 years, he's in there. He's in the top 15, 100%. You have to. You have to put him in the top 15. You have to put him in the top 15. You know, but Tony Parker
15?
is this?
I don't know if I'm putting him that high. 15, that's high. That's high.
For point guards, he's there.
For point guards. Oh, for point guards only, yes. Oh, I thought you meant overall.
No.
Oh, okay. Point guards, yeah, I could give you that.
No,
yes.
I'm not crazy.
I could give you that. But I'm going to have to disagree with you, dog. I'm going with Kemba Walker, man, if I'm building a squad. I mean, I like Tony Parker. Don't get me wrong.
You're putting personal feelings in this one.
Nah, I mean, maybe a little. But to me, if I'm taking championships out of it, taking team success out of it, because just as point guards and what they bring to the table, to me, Kemba Walker is more dynamic than a Tony Parker. Kemba averaged over 20 4 times in his career. Tony Parker, I believe, did it only twice. But I know it's a different scenario because he wasn't the number one option. It was Tim Duncan's team and Ginobili and them as well. So I understand that with as far as numbers wise. But to me, I just think Kemba's a little bit more dynamic, and he can be the number one scorer on your team. I don't know if he can be the number one player or the best player on your team, on a championship team, but I feel like he can be the number one scorer, averaging. He can get you 25 a night if that's what you're asking him to do, but not if you're asking him to carry the team. I don't think if Tony Parker didn't have Tim Duncan and those boys around him, I can't see Tony Parker carrying a team per se. So that's why I'm gonna have to give my nod to Kemba, me personally.
But you put some personal feelings into it too, so it's all good.
I mean, I like Kemba more. I mean, that's just yeah, Kemba's my dude. But
it's all love.
I'm still taking Kemba over him, no matter what. I still am. Next up, a little bit more interesting. Are you taking a prime Chris Webber, C-Web, or you taking a Anthony Davis? Let me give you the career stats. C-Web, 20 points per game, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 block, 1 steal, 47% from the floor, 5-time All-Star, 1-time All-NBA first team, 1-time Rookie of the Year. AD, 23 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks, 1 steal, 51% from the floor, 6-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA first team, and 3-time blocks leader. Rory, you taking AD or you taking C-Web, dog? Building that squad.
I can't trust Chris Webber because Chris Webber likes to call. He likes to call dumb timeouts. So automatically I'm going to Anthony Davis. His upside is tremendous. Like, this guy's a walking billboard when it comes to numbers. You know what I mean? Not only with points, he can get points. He can get rebounds. Not only with rebounds, he can get steals. And he can also get blocks. This guy can lead all 4 stat columns in any given night. You know what I mean? For your respective team. And I think he's overcome a little bit of the injury bug that he had in his earlier part of his career, because we just didn't know when he came from Kentucky what was going to happen. He had to grow into his body, do all this other good stuff and whatnot. But he's showing you that he can lead all 4 stat categories. You know what I mean? So, with that ceiling and he's due for an MVP season. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's gonna happen, and it's just a matter of time before he has that breakout monster season. But he's a guy that single-handedly I would have in my organization within a heartbeat. I know many teams, many respective cities would want an Anthony Davis.
Oh, hell yeah. And they're going to be trying this summer. You know that for damn
No,
sure.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I hear you, man. Those are some solid points, and you almost swayed me, my brother. But I gotta go see Webb on this. I'm gonna have to disagree.
You just want to disagree with me today. It's all good.
Not at all. I gotta go with C Webb, and to me, it's very close. I think, like to your points, you said Anthony Davis to me is probably the more versatile out of the two, and can fill up the stat sheet a little bit more. But I might have a little personal bias in there as well, because I am a big C Webb fan. And I just think he's a better passer than Anthony Davis. I think they're pretty much even as scorers, because C Webb was getting you 20-10 every night for a couple of years. And I was always a big fan of Sacramento C Webb. I just love how he controlled the offense at that time. He could shoot. He could do it all. And I just gotta go see Webb because he's one of my personal favorites. But Anthony Davis is one of my favorites too. But I'm gonna have to go see Webb by the slightest of hair, Rory. The slightest of hair. But I'm not mad at either one. I'm not. But yeah, man. So I'm rooting for them Raptors, Rory, man. They gotta get there.
You can root for them all you want. Like I said, it's the fans, man. It's the fans. And another thing too is how quick. And one thing I didn't even point out is how quick they switch up. Like, Kawhi Leonard, yes, he took you guys to the finals, but don't act like DeMar DeRozan didn't give you guys blood, sweat, and tears for all their seasons.
But it was an upgrade. From DeRozan. That's an off-air conversation. You know what I mean? Because there's another way that I would have looked at that Raptors team, and if you could have somehow had a DeMar and a Kawhi, and if you could have made it work, that would be nice.
That would have been problematic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's a conversation for off air. But like I said, it's good that they're there. It's just, with all this energy that's going, and I'm going to just make sure I hammer this one home, this major key point. I don't want to hear that you guys just got to the finals and you guys shit the bed. You guys basically decided to, if you guys... Yeah, you got to put your fight. I don't want to hear that you guys got swept or was a gentleman's sweep last 6 to 7 games in this series. Because I know if they don't win the championship or they get swept or whatever theatric storyline they're going to come with, they're going to be like, well, at least we made the finals. To me, that's not enough. Put up a fight.
Yeah, they definitely have to.
You're here now.
100%.
You're here now.
Yeah, they can't get swept. Listen, I'll be so disappointed if they get swept. That shit is unacceptable, dog. Unacceptable if they do. Better go at least 6. At least 6.
And here's the other part. Yeah. If they get swept by like 20, they get 20 to each in every single game.
Yeah, it's a wrap for them. And then I got to bring you back on, because then you got to shit on them after that. You do. But
we'll see what happens.
We'll see. But Rory, my brother, I want to thank you again, man. Appreciate you joining me on the latest episode on Above the Rim, my brother. It's always a dope time.
Absolutely. Just keep doing your thing, man. You have a brilliant show. You're 96 episodes in. Mm-hmm. I'm proud of you. You know what I mean? You're taking the basketball podcasting game to a whole nother level in the NYC area. Just keep up the good work, man. I see you, bro. I see you.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it, my dude, man. I appreciate it, homie. And of course, you're part of the Above the Rim family as always.
Absolutely.
Always got a seat up here whenever you're ready, my dude. We definitely
Yes,
gonna have a Timberwolves off-season breakdown when the season is done. So that's coming up as well.
Sounds good, my friend.
Definitely, man. So take it easy, my brother. Appreciate you coming on, man. So family, that's Above the Rim, episode 96. And we are